Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Creativity Reframed. To celebrate International Women's Day, I wanted to explore the role of female leadership through crisis. Clearly, COVID, as we know, has had a really catastrophic effect on gender equality in the workplace. Some analysts saying that it's actually been pushed back up to 25 years. However, as 2021 begins, there is the potential for perhaps a crucible moment in this space and some hope. We actually are now seeing more female leaders than ever before. And so we can ask ourselves, could the pandemic actually spur lasting change if flexible working becomes the norm, giving everyone that equal opportunity to progress? So to explore this topic with me today, I'm absolutely delighted to have somebody who is so qualified to talk about this. I'm joined today by a wonderful and very kind female leader and friend, serial entrepreneur Lorna Davidson, who's the founder and CEO of Red Wigwam, and a thought leader and a pioneer in the flexible workforce revolution. So huge welcome to you, Lorna. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Dawn. Thank you for that introduction.
I know that there's been a lot of talk through COVID about the fact that we've now seen evidentially and statistically that female leaders such as Jacinda Ardern and Angela Merkel have been able to wonderfully navigate their countries through the storm in perhaps a way far superior to some of their male counterparts. So on International Women's Day, just really interested to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, and the two ladies you've mentioned are fantastic, but I think there's examples of amazing women all the time that have been able to navigate their way through this very difficult time. I think the challenge is we just don't have enough women in the right positions to be able to make that influence. I mean, I was reading a really interesting article just earlier this week that was talking about the fact that actually, if you have a woman or you have somebody of color on your board, the difference in the output in terms of the performance of your business is just huge. And therefore, we're all at fault for not making sure that those opportunities happen more for women, people of color, but for everybody that needs the opportunity and the platform to be seen and heard.
If we think about Red Wigwam in terms of how you as an organization behave in this space, as a flexible working platform, you were obviously kind of thinking through a lot of this stuff actually before COVID, years and years before COVID hit actually, which obviously kind of puts you in quite an interesting place, I guess. I mean, presumably that ability also, particularly if we think about kind of gender and gender equality during COVID, presumably that's something that you'll have seen with your worker base, that's kind of made a huge difference to women, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we've always targeted return to work parents, women and people that've got lots of skills that just maybe can't manage to work in the same way 9 to 5 every day because of their commitments. But the great thing for us at Red Wigwam is we get amazing workers. It means we get amazing people with lots of skills that actually want to do a great job when they're doing it. They just wanted to fit in with their lifestyle. And that was always the ethos behind Red Wigwam, was to give people those opportunities. I think the other thing that's very important for me is that sometimes women are not the most overly confident. And what I'm hoping Red Wigwam can do is give people a route back into the workforce. So if you have stopped and had children, or if you've maybe not followed the right path, you can actually try some different jobs, gain some experience, but most importantly, gain some confidence and some belief in yourself that actually I can do this. And that for me is hugely important in terms of the women that work within the Red Wigwam platform.
I think it's something that I've been lucky enough to experience directly working with yourself, Lorna, which is you've got one of those rare skills of, I think you've got that duality between being very relationship orientated and very empathetic, but very driven and very ambitious at the same time. And I think it's an important distinction, isn't it? That just because one is relationship and empathetic does not mean to say that there's a lack of ambition or any of those things. Just out of curiosity, is that something that you've developed and kind of flexed those muscles over time? Or is that just something that's always been in your DNA?
I think it's actually my DNA. And, if you look back over my career, I've probably always been considered to be a really quite tough taskmaster.
Yeah.
but actually good skills in terms of, being able to recognize when somebody's not firing on all cylinders. They used to laugh at me, but when somebody walked into the office, I'd be able to go, oh, they don't look quite right today. And they go, how do you know?
Yeah.
And, it's that sort of awareness of how people move and talk, etc. And that for me has always been really important. I always want people to be happy and healthy at work. And actually, you've got to support them more so now than ever.
Given that we are celebrating International Women's Day today, is there anyone that you particularly admire as a female leader that's kind of inspired you?
I change all the time because there's so many amazing female leaders.
Yeah.
And I suppose I don't know whether it's the stages of my life I go through or the stages in the business, but I just look at things and I think, oh my God, that would be amazing. So, can't remember the lady's name that did Bumble.
Yes, she's about 31 years old.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she's got her baby on her hip and that type of thing. And I look at her and I just think, nothing's going to stop her.
Yeah.
She's fought through and she's ready and she's good. And I love that. And I think the biggest thing I look for in a female leader, the thing I really aspire to, is focus, but it's enthusiasm and passion.
Yeah.
I want somebody to be, and so if you're enthusiastic and passionate and you're taking your business forward, I'm right in behind you saying, well done. I'm your biggest cheerleader.
As kind of a highly successful female entrepreneur coming through COVID, what tips would you be giving to any other budding female entrepreneurs?
So I think one of the things that is really difficult is being an entrepreneur. People say if you've got a good idea, then it's fine. Actually, a good idea is only part of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's that, and I talk about passion a lot, but you've got to be passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about people working flexibly. I'm passionate about trying to make people's lives better. One of my biggest straplines has always been about making a difference. If I can't make a difference, then I shouldn't be doing it. And then I think you've got to have a level of tenacity that is bordering on the bonkers. We hit a wall, and I never think about that wall's going to stop me. I always think about, am I going over it, round it, through it? What am I doing? Whereas lots of other people around me will go, oh, that's too hard now. So that sort of feeling of failure is not an option, I think is something that's really important. But I think also, if I can give any advice, and it's to learn some of the things I'm maybe not all that great at, is to have a plan and stick to the plan. I'm a shiny ball follower. You're nodding because this is true. I'm very good at getting 80% through a project. And then I tend to get a little bit bored and I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And what that does for the team behind me is they've not quite finished and they've not quite caught up. And therefore, I cause a little bit of that disjointed feeling. So the thing, if I've learned anything through COVID, it's actually I've got to get a plan and I've got to stick to it. Again, I talk a lot in business about having fun.
Yeah.
And I think if I've learned anything through COVID, it's really difficult to have fun with your teammates when you don't see them.
Yeah.
But I also think it's trust yourself. It's real bravery. I'm big into being brave. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be very brave. You don't get much braver than women. So women really have got all the qualities to be amazing entrepreneurs.
I mean, that is such lovely advice and tips and kind of self-reflections there, Lorna, in terms of other female entrepreneurs that are out there. And I guess the other piece during COVID is that we've seen that actually there's been an explosion in, increased uptake of entrepreneurship as well. So really kind of sage advice. And I think, as you say, I think the bit we've all went through COVID is almost that piece of you literally don't know what the next day is going to bring. So, that notion of, being passionate, being resilient, being tenacious, and almost that idea you've got to live each day because you don't know what's coming through the next day.
Absolutely.
Grasp everything while you can, haven't you?
And I think, you talk about resilience. I think that's what women have in bucket loads.
Yeah.
We cope with change. We cope with, everybody's using the word pivoting, and we do that all the way through our life.
Yeah.
From, being I know, being a parent is important for both male and female, but actually for myself, I'm very fortunate. I've got a stay-at-home dad. So my husband stays at home with the kids. Yeah. But actually my role pivoted completely from being just a business leader to being a business leader that was breastfeeding next to the boardroom, and so lots of very different things. Yeah. So we're very good at that tenacious changing, being up for it, and also not taking ourselves too seriously.
Well, listen, we are done with our International Women's Day special. I've been absolutely delighted to hang out with you on International Women's Day, Lorna. So thank you so much for finding the time to inspire a whole bunch of women out there today. So take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Many thanks, Dawn. Bye.